Welcome back. Namibia is strengthening efforts to protect its biological resources while ensuring fair benefit sharing. A 3-day access and benefit sharing training taking place from the 14th to the 16th of April here in Windhoek will bring together key sectors, including researchers, law enforcement, and the media. We now speak to Kauna Schroder, focal person for access and benefit sharing of biological and genetic resources associated with traditional knowledge, about the significance of this initiative and what it means for the country. Betty, thank you so much for joining us this evening here on the Daily Roundup.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for granting this opportunity to the ministry to really make use of this platform to share some information with the broader public.
Talk to us, Betty, about what inspired the development of this national ABS training and why it's important for Namibia at this moment.
The very good question. The development of this national ABS training was inspired by a clear recognition that Namibia has reached a pivotal moment in its ABS journey. We have the legal architecture in place, the access to biological and genetic resources and associated traditional knowledge Act number 2 of 2017, including its regulations that came into force, and our obligations under the Nagoya Protocol, that is a protocol under the Convention of Biological Diversity, is that we domesticate it and then ensure that we have domestic legislation. But the legislation alone does not guarantee effective implementation. So what was missing was a coordinated sector-wide investment in building the human and institutional capacity.
Betty, are you with us? Well, it seems, unfortunately, we've have a little hiccup there. Let's take a brief break. Welcome back. Well, we apologize for that interruption. Just before the break, we're speaking to Kauna Schroder from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry, talking to us about a 3-day access and benefit sharing training that will be taking place here in Windhoek. Betty, just to further the conversation, how does this training contribute to strengthening Namibia's overall governance of biological and genetic resources?
Thank you, and really our apologies for the network glitches. This event contributes to governance strengthening at multiple levels. At the institutional level, it builds the capacity of the agencies and bodies that are responsible for administering, monitoring, and enforcing ABS requirements. And when regulatory officials and law enforcement personnel understand ABS, the entire compliance and enforcement chain is strengthened. So basically what we're saying is that at the policy level, the training creates a platform for intersectoral dialogue that can inform future policy development. And so conversations that happen between researchers, regulators, and community representatives and media practitioners during this program will surface practical challenges and opportunities that should shape how we refine our ABS governance framework moving forward.
What are some of these challenges that Namibia currently faces when it comes to implementing access and benefit sharing frameworks?
Some of the challenges that we are currently facing in terms of implementing this framework is that I want to be candid about the challenges, because acknowledging them is the first step towards addressing them. There are several significant hurdles we face. First, the institutional capacity and resourcing. The ABS office, which serves as the national, focal point and is housed within the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, has been operating largely, on donor funding, without really having a permanent structure. But the ministry is effectively looking into that, and it's taking us to the next level where it is creating the need for us to ensure that it is formalized and that we really ensure that this office is fully functional. The second one is really on awareness that remains uneven. While pockets of strong ABS knowledge exist, many stakeholders across research institutions, the private sector, and some communities, and even within the government still lack a functional understanding of ABS requirements. So this training is a direct response to that gap, but it must be part of an ongoing, sustained awareness effort. And then finally, compliance and monitoring and enforcement are still developing. We have not yet fully enforced, compliance, and we do see some biopiracy still going on, and we do see that some institutions are still, or researchers are still not compliant to the provisions that are under the law. So the rapidly evolving international landscape includes negotiations on different types of resources like digital sequence information, pathogens and related to pandemics and so forth. And this really poses a challenge for us not having this instrument fully implemented, or people not being aware that there is such a legislation. So the nature of ABS governance need to be effectively implemented in order to make sure that the country is responsive to international laws and implementing it domestically.
Well, just lastly, how would the success then be measured from this training? What are the next steps after training concludes?
We intend to roll out follow-up trainings at regional level, targeting specific sectors and communities in more depth. We will operationalize, some advisory committee and expert committees and convene the inaugural sessions. We will continue developing guidance materials and publications to support stakeholders, and then ensure that qualitatively, we will assess whether the training has catalyzed new relationships and collaborations between sectors, whether participants report increased confidence in navigating the ABS system, and whether the governance structures launched at this event will then become active and effective. So the vision for us is clear. In Namibia, where every genetic resource accessed is accessed legally,
every community whose knowledge is used is fairly compensated, and every benefit derived from our biological and genetic heritage is shared equitably. So this training is a foundational step forward to that vision, and we are quite confident that we're going to find ways to operationalize that.
Madam Schroder, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us here on the Daily Roundup.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time.